quality of the food that they gave us in the mess hall would eventually kill me if I continued to eat it in abundance. So I did alter my diet drastically. It becomes fundamentally important for you to understand that whatever your routine is, that has to be your way of life each and every day. As I stated previously, reading, writing, working out, establishing routines really is at the heart of what you're going to do when you go to the prison system. Greetings and salutations. I'm Victor Sordi and welcome to my channel, 28 to Persevere. Thanks for watching. At the end of this video, hit me up with a comment, press that like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. It doesn't cost a dime. It's all very much appreciated. On today's video, we're going to talk about routines and how fundamentally important that is to your well-being and your way of life each and every day that you spend behind the wall. Routines in and of themselves really are at the heart of institutional living. For me personally, I focus my routines on reading, writing, working out, my spiritual endeavors, and bobbing and weaving, learning how to move, how not to move, what to do, what not to do, survival within the yards, focusing on my work. I worked in custodial maintenance for over 14 years while I was at the Auburn Correctional Facility. That became a daily grind each and every day, 5 days a week. In prison, you'll actually get a job, eventually be assigned some sort of program. If you don't have school, you'll be assigned schooling, and you'll focus your time and your routine around that. I made sure to make time for my workouts. I would periodically shift between calisthenics and hitting the iron in the iron pile. I would make that a steady grind each and every day of my life. That was fundamentally important to me, my health, as it still is. And I understood then that routines in and of themselves is what you have to know and you have to understand about life in prison. So when you wake up in the morning, it's usually at the crack of dawn. For me, I got up between 4:30 for years. Most people ask me why, what was the point of that? And the honest answer is it's relatively quiet at that time. Most of the madness doesn't start to progress until a little later on in the morning. But around 4:30, even though it's never really quiet in prison, it is to the point that I was able to focus, I was able to read, and I was able to write. Reading, as fundamentally important that is for me, even to this day, I would make sure to do that early in the morning, about two hours, maybe sometimes a little longer, just to read and relax my mind and create a comment, which always had a common effect upon my temperament, which helped me channel my energy accordingly. In a proactive manner. And then I would focus my mind also on writing. I would write my loved ones at that time, mainly my wife and children, but also my extended family and friends, which also kept me sane in that insane environment that I lived in so long. But establishing routines really is at the heart of what you're going to do when you go to the prison system. For most people, you wake up in the morning. You're accustomed to hearing the bells. A lot of guys get woken up by the bells. Some people can sleep through them, which always amazed me. But you wake up and you head on out. You wait for the gates to open. You go to the mess hall. You go from there. You maybe go to your school, because when you're in prison and you don't have your GED, you'll be assigned schooling, or you'll go to your designated work area. Some people, as in Auburn in particular, work in the industry department, where they worked on manufacturing the plates that you see in upstate New York and throughout the New York State. There are made in the Auburn Correctional Facility industry department. You have the school building where most of the maintenance workers are basically focused on with doing whatever they're doing there. And myself included, I was in custodial maintenance for over 14 years, so I channel a lot of my energy and focus on the routine of going there each and every day of the week, 5 days a week. For about 6 to 8 hours, you would work your shift there, and you would go to the mess hall for the chow runs in the AM, the evening, the PMs, maybe 3 times a day. But you establish yourself in these routines, and it becomes fundamentally important for you to understand that whatever your routine is, that has to be your way of life each and every day. As I stated previously, reading, writing, working out, that was my daily grind. My spiritual endeavors was also very important to me. Devoted a tremendous amount of energy to that, but that in and of itself is a way of life and not necessarily routine. It's how I move each and every day. So, but at early stages of my incarceration, my spiritual endeavors weren't too crystallized, and it wasn't really clarified yet inside my mind how I wanted to pursue that angle and where I stood. I was still in the abyss deeply, and very my mindset was very dark at that early stage of my incarceration. So my routines were studying was concerned. I would read for hours on end each and every day, and trying to understand where I stood and who I could talk to and who I couldn't talk to, and where I was. And early in my bid, I really didn't understand what the importance of routines. But that in and of itself is what is so important for you to understand where routines are concerned. The monotony and redundancy of prison life will truly drive a man insane. I have bore witness to this personally on more than one occasion, and I cannot stress the importance of establishing routine not only for your own mental health and well-being, but to keep your wits about you and to keep a broader perspective of your reality instead of being consumed by the reality that you're currently facing. Make sure you focus your mind on the principles of reading, the value of literature, the principles and values of music. They in and of itself help me with my routines every day. I mean, the moment I stepped in myself from being wherever I was, I immediately took my headphones, which were usually hanging on a hook at the side of my bed, placed them over my head, and tuned out the world around me. I cranked up that music as loud as it possibly could. Most of the music I listened to was hardcore, heavy music, which I love, and that had a very common effect on me, as it still does to a large extent. But it helped me channel my energy and help me focus. And I would literally meditate on that music to tune out the madness that was the cacophony around me outside of the headphones, which the prison system uh, is constant. So, I knew the importance of establishing a routine when it comes to that, but I also found the time to write, as I stated previously. Writing was very important to me. It was my means of extending my hand and my mind and my ability to reach out to my loved ones, uh, both my kith and my kin, to let them know what I was thinking, how I was feeling, what I was doing at this particular time. They were overly concerned, rightfully so, about my well-being, and I was concerned for theirs. We were all going through it together. You're never truly alone in that regard in prison when you have loved ones that are also suffering alongside you in their own way, which is a story that goes untold through many channels, and people who speak about the prison system, they never talk about the family members who suffer alongside you along the way, which we will get into deeply on another video. But it's this reality of establishing a routine for yourself that is so important to making sure that you stay sane, that you know what you're up against. You know that, each day, yes, there is a redundant nature and it's monotonous and it will drive you crazy if you just do the same thing over and over again. Einstein's theory, of insanity, expecting different results, but you can't, change the fundamental reality that you're facing every day. But what you can do for yourself is establish these routines and establish the way you interact every day with these routines, how important they are to you. I made time every day devoted to my spiritual endeavors. I focused my energy to enlightenment, focusing on the natural instincts that I had inside me to make sure that I can channel them in a productive fashion that wouldn't become led astray by the elements and the negative forces of chaos that were all around me every day, pulling me in different directions. That to me, I knew, I had to keep that focus channeled right way. That pathway of opportunity that was laid out before me each and every day that I woke up was a pathway of opportunity where if I did not take advantage of it, it would lead me down a dark path that I would never return from. And so that wasn't something that I was going to let happen. So my routine spiritually were to get up each morning and do my rituals and to make sure that I understood that these were helping me channel my energy, helping me focus and do what's important for me. And then, putting forth the energy to focus on writing, focus on reading, working out every day. When it's time for me to go to the yard, I got together with my crew, and we hit the iron. We zoned out the world around us the best we could. And that routine each and every day. My diet, my dietary habits. I ate mainly in my cell because I understood the carcinogenic quality of the food that they gave us in the mess hall. would eventually kill me if I continued to eat it in abundance. So I did alter my diet drastically, and I became basically a vegetarian in a sense. And I ate fundamentally my whole focal point was fruits and vegetables and what fish I could get my hands on, rice meals and pasta accordingly. But it was important for me to have that routine too, my diet, because without your health, you really have nothing. You realize that more than ever in the prison system when you're truly alone to focus on that by yourself without anybody really giving two shits about whether or not you're healthy or not that are living around you. So I understood the importance of these routines and what to do and what not to do to make sure that I moved accordingly. And that in and of itself is the principles of survival, understanding what your routine is and how it's going to affect you. Whatever it is you give power to, be devoted to it 110% if it's going to help you survive your moment. And that moment is really the only thing that is important to you in the foreseeable future, because you don't know where the future holds, what the next day is going to bring with it. So establish your routines, keep that focal point, and that is the most important thing for you to focus on. I'm Victor Sorty. Thanks for watching my channel, 28 to Persevere. Hit me up with a comment, press that like button, and subscribe. Until next time, go with the gods and persevere.